Hey guys, it's Courtney King here with King Realty and Management. I hope everybody is staying warm today. It's so cold outside, so you see me bundled up. Real quick, I realize that a lot of real estate investors do not plan. So today I wanted to talk about how to finish the year off strong and just really some tips in even things that I'm doing right now to evaluate the performance of my portfolio and then make plans for next year. So this is kind of like a year-end thing that I do typically the last couple of months of the year. And then I also help my clients do. So number one, I like to look at everything from a tax perspective, obviously. So take a look at, this year, how much have I made? What kind of deductions am I going to anticipate? For our clients, obviously, we can pull super easy reports, income and expense statements for a certain date range. So I look at that for the entire year to date of 2018, and kind of gauge my income and my expenses and how I can anticipate that on my 2018 tax return. So I like to do that now kind of with a little bit of time left in the year, because if I need to make moves, get creative, or either add to my portfolio or do something that's going to minimize my tax liability, I would like to have enough time to do that. So now is a good time to look at that in terms of income and expenses. Next thing, I look forward. So what projects do I want to accomplish in 2019? And knowing that helps me plan, okay, do I need to liquidate a property or two? Do I want to grow my portfolio? And looking ahead will kind of help me gauge what I need to do, between now and the first couple of months of 2019. And guys, when you don't plan and you just fly by the seat of your pants, you potentially are leaving money out on the table, or you're spending money unnecessarily because you don't have a proper plan. So if I know that I want to add at least 2 more properties to my portfolio for 2019, then I'm taking a look at the income that I have been receiving on 1 or more properties, and I'm looking to see how I can use that income or potentially leverage myself to add to my portfolio in the future. So that's another thing that I would look at. If in the next year you have a tenant that the lease is up, or if your tenant is going to be leaving in 2019, now is the time to plan for that too. So especially my folks that have had tenants in their properties for a long time, and you are anticipating a vacancy in the near future, then looking at that and planning for that future make ready is also a really good thing to do. That way, when your tenant does move out, or if they do move out, then you have already planned ahead. You've already set money aside to do any make-readies that you may need to do. And it just makes life so much easier. Of course, there's going to be things in 2019 that you didn't anticipate or you didn't plan for. And that goes along with setting aside a reserve. So how much money do you have set aside for your properties now? And then what are your goals for setting aside money for future expenses for next year? That's also something that you want to factor into the equation. And then last but not least, Maintenance to a lot of people is probably the most painful part of being a real estate investor. It doesn't have to be. So if I have a property and I know that the hot water heater's like 12 years old, then I may start moving some money around or planning for replacing the hot water heater in 2019. Same thing goes with HVAC systems. So if you know that it's on its last leg and you've done so many temporary repairs, then now would be the time to say, okay, well, you know what? It's going to cost me about this much to replace the system. And so I need to be setting aside this much of my monthly proceeds in order to offset that and have enough money without, being in pain. And then I thought I had already mentioned my last thing. The really last thing is refinancing. So if you currently have a mortgage on your property and let's say you haven't evaluated it in a very long time, now would also be a really good time to evaluate, what interest rate are you at right now, compared to the interest rate that is kind of the going interest rate per se of today. And so compare, if you're at a high interest rate, now may be the time to refinance and get that interest rate down a little bit. Maybe do a cash out refi if you own your property outright. Refinance the property, take the cash and go buy another property or work on other projects that you want to work on. So there's just a lot of things that you can do and get creative. But guys, it's all about planning. And that's actually what we're doing with our investors that we work with every day is look at the overall performance of their property, any trends in terms of maintenance, any trends in terms of other expenses or income, and then package that up to be our plan for 2019. I hope this was helpful. I could probably go on and on about how investors can plan. If you have any particular questions as you close out this year, feel free to comment below, or you can visit our website, kingrealtytx.com. Also, our socials, YouTube is at KingRealtyTX. Instagram and Twitter at King Realty DFW, and obviously you're here with me on Facebook. So I hope you guys have an amazing rest of the week, and I will be talking to you next week.